We'll get started in a couple minutes, or in a minute. Let's just wait, give everyone a chance to hop on. And Christine's gonna walk us through some Zoom tips and tricks.
Morning, everybody.
If you guys have any questions, I know that Christine is it's gonna be an interactive Zoom call, but you can also chat as well. Whenever you're ready, Christine.
I'm going to let you know my internet is very, very spotty right now. I'm on and off.
Okay, Judy, we are recording, so we'll send that out after.
Okay, great.
Okay,
I may lose you.
Okay.
And just to let you, I'm sorry. And just to let you know, once we get going, if your video does freeze, you'll just want to try to exit the meeting, and you can do that from the lower right-hand corner. Go back to the link that you went in from and rejoin the meeting. All right. Well, good morning, everyone. So learning and using Zoom meetings is probably the most important thing you're going to need to learn how to do today. Your office staff meetings, trainings, one-on-one with your business support specialists, everything's going to be held by Zoom for the foreseeable future. So, and very, very importantly, we need you to be able to be comfortable initiating these meetings so that you can meet with your clients face-to-face, or as face-to-face as we can do right now. Why that's important, think about when you meet with buyers for the first time and you have to go over the New Hampshire disclosure, or any disclosure for that matter. And you would be sitting by them side by side to do that with them. In this case, you're going to need to be able to pull this up on a screen and show that to them from wherever they are. So this is super important for you to be able to interact with your client base as far as getting listings, meeting with buyers, and just, just calling up and saying hi to one of your clients and seeing how they're doing and if there's anything that you can do to help them out with. So with that being said, if you take a look at your screens right now, your main screen, you'll see across the bottom a toolbar. Does everybody see that? Great. So I'm going to actually grab this green button down below and see where it says share screen. I'm going to grab it. I have permission to grab it from Melissa. So now you can see my screen. Can everybody see that? It should look like a black screen. It says toolbar in the center. Great. All right. So just a quick tour of the toolbar. So right here in your lower left corner is your unmute and your stop video buttons. So typically when you go into a meeting, you're going to want to make sure that you are muted. Depending on the type of meeting it is, if it's one of your staff meetings, you may want to, your sales director may have everybody unmute, so it can just be a very organic, fluid conversation like it normally would be. And right here is this stop video. So you might have noticed when you came in, there was a line across this also, and you're going to want to unclick that so it doesn't have the red line across it anymore, so that your camera and everything else will come on. So just to show across here, this is the button that I used to share my screen with Melissa. There's some other things in here that you can also see. There's an invite button, like if you wanted to add anybody else into your meeting who's not already there. There's a chat button. So if you're hosting a larger group meeting, which you're probably not going to be doing unless you're a business support specialist or a sales director, this is a great way to have people ask questions and help just monitor everything that's going on in a bigger group setting. You may want to record, especially if you're doing a training or for whatever reason. If you do record, please let your clients know that you are in fact going to record them, just as a courtesy to them. When you get to the end of a meeting, here's your end meeting button. Any questions so far? Okay, so I am going to just talk about a few other things. So Let's see if I can grab back my screen here. There we go. What are you seeing for a screen right now? Sometimes I use two screens, so sometimes
We're still seeing your toolbar.
You're still seeing my toolbar. Okay, great. I'm trying to get me back to me, but we'll keep looking at the toolbar for now. So just a few etiquette things that you might want to be aware of. You know, I know we're all at home and we're working and we just want to wear our cozy flannel bottoms and throw our hair up in a bun or throw a sweatshirt on or whatever. But there is some etiquette. So one of the things that you want to do is, you know, make sure your hair, your makeup, your clothes, at least from the waist up, right, reflect your professionalism. So be dressed and have your appearances such that you were going into a face-to-face meeting with a client or into your office. Be mindful when you are in a meeting. You want to move to a more quiet, private place in your house. I know that's a little bit tougher right now with, you know, everyone's got kids and pets and everybody's just home right now. But if you can move to a room that has a neutral background and still kind of reflects that professionalism for you. And keep in mind, if that room is the bedroom, please try to move your camera angle so it doesn't look like you're in your bedroom. So I even heard one tip yesterday, if you got to flip a laundry basket over and put your laptop up and arrange it such that it looks like you're in a room, you know, do whatever it is that you need to do to maintain that professionalism. So again, enter the meeting with your microphones muted. You know, everyone else in the meeting does not want to hear all the noises in the background. And make sure to have your video on. And I know a lot of people aren't really comfortable yet with having their video on, but now more than ever, we really need to see each other face to face. And just like you would be in any other sales meeting or training, everybody would be able to see what you are. It's showing just your respect for the presenter. The presenter's able to see everybody's faces, and it just makes it that much more interactive. So it's a meeting after all, right? Hello, Diana. Diana just popped on her camera. All right, how are we doing? All right. So the next thing I want to show you is how to join a meeting, to start your own meeting. If I can get my computer to move. So you're going to want to install your Zoom app. You can install it on your laptop. If all of you are already in this meeting, you have the capability of doing this. Once we send this out, we'll show people how to set that up on their phones too. I'll include some slides on that. But for right now, to do it on your computer, can you see my screen here? It's a white screen. It says scheduling a meeting in advance.
I took your screen share away when we
Oh,
were chatting, so if you want to just share it again.
it's not letting me. There we go. Okay. So can you see my screen here? It's a white screen. It says scheduling a meeting in advance. Yes, great. All right, so right here, you want to click this button that says schedule. And then you're going to get a pop-up window that looks like this. And the topic is going to be whatever you want to make it. It kind of auto-populates just with your name and says Zoom meeting, but you can change the name and make it anything you want. Right in here, as if any other calendaring thing, is where you're going to be able to put in your start, your day, the time it's going to start, and the duration. If you're using the free version of Zoom, it only lets you go to 40 minutes right now if it's a group of 3 or more, I believe. If it's just a one-on-one, it still gives you the unlimited amount of time. Make sure your time zone is set correctly. For the meeting ID, this is kind of what creates the room or the meeting space for your meeting. I personally prefer to use the personal meeting ID, but I know some people will use the generate automatically. So you might want to just try with it and play with that a little bit just to see which one you prefer and which works better for your guests. Password, I don't require a password on my meetings. As we move it more into security features, with more and more people using Zoom, that might be something you want to consider, but for right now, it's probably not necessary. Video. I like to have the video on for myself. I want you to be able to see me talking and interacting with you, and ditto for the participants. I feel that the participants should always have their cameras on. Audio. Depending on who you're interacting with, again, I prefer the telephone and computer audio. That gives them a choice to use, or in case one has a failure. Sometimes you might be having a problem with your computer audio, and at least that way you'll be able to listen on your phone. For the calendar, it's pretty cool. This interacts with a number of different calendars. I use Google Calendar, but if you are an Outlook user or you use something else, like one of the Apple product calendars, you can select other calendar too. So then you're just going to hit the schedule button. And then for me, because I use Google Calendar, this is what it looks like. Since most of us are using company Gmail, we're probably going to be connected to the Google Calendar anyway. So you're going to select which account if you have multiple Google accounts. You're going to trust Zoom. You're going to have to, because if you don't, they're not going to let you have a Zoom meeting. And you're going to click the Allow button. So then you're going to get another calendar pop up, and just it's going to pop up with what information you would put in the previous screens. So you just want to go through, confirm your times, make sure everything's the way you want it to be done. It's going to create the link for the Zoom meeting right here. You can decide, again, like you would in any other calendaring, you know, what kind of notifications you want for yourself and for the guests coming into the meeting. And then down here is, it says Christine Callahan is inviting you. But if you want to put in a little bit more information about what the meeting's about, if you have an agenda that you want to attach, you can attach it right there. If there's photos or anything else that's pertinent to the meeting, you can make those attachments right there. Over here, you're going to add your guests, and that's just going to be typing in their email addresses. Give them their permissions. I would say I probably wouldn't let them modify the event on you, but maybe you do have others that you'd like invited in, and you might want to see that guest list. Once you have all of these things completed, you just hit your save button up here.
Christine, can we pause for a second? We have
Sure.
a couple of questions that came in explaining about the meeting ID. Did you want to go over that?
Well, the meeting ID is just really, it creates a URL link that's going to allow you to get into that meeting. Again, I just use my regular personal meeting ID, but using the other type of meeting link in works just as fine.
Yeah, can you go back one screen if you don't mind?
Let me see if I can go back. This one here?
Yeah, so you guys will see down in the body of that email, it says the meeting ID. I also think of it as, let's see if you're going to a function hall and you're going to meet in room B. That's kind of the Zoom's meeting spot. So that's what that will be. And then I also wanted to just show you up under where it says Zoom, join Zoom meeting. Google has been throwing in Google Hangouts lately. So I know that I've gotten confused from time that sometimes I'll get that link, that Google Hangout link, as well as the Zoom. So when you're creating this invite, just make sure to uncheck that, or else it just might bring up some confusion that's not needed.
Does that typically happen more depending on the type of calendaring that they're using, Melissa?
In Google, I've seen it. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Great.
And then we had a couple other, we had one about the time limit of meetings. It would only let them do it for 40 minutes. That extended time period is just for this COVID-19 time frame. So Zoom just has taken that off, and Christine did a little bit more research and said if it was 3 people or less, right?
Right, they would let you go for as long as you wanted.
Yeah, so I don't think that they're showcasing that in where you guys are setting up meetings. but they have extended that. So thank you.
All right, great. So sometimes you're going to have a meeting where it's just like it needs to be an impromptu meeting. So similarly to scheduling you want out, you're just going to do a few different steps. So what you're going to do is you're going to click this orange new meeting button first. And then you're going to get a pop-up right here. And this would, if your camera is on, it would show your picture, your whatever you're doing right now live. You're going to click to invite the participants. And the participants are just going to be the people that you're inviting into the meeting, and you're going to be inviting them by email. It's going to pop up to this window, and it's going to give you a contacts and an email. You can do it either way. I personally prefer to go by the email button, and then depending on what you use for an email product. So you click that, and then the Gmail button. It then is going to pop up an email window, and this is going to send an email right out to your new participants. So you're going to put their name in here. It's going to say, please join Zoom meeting in progress. And it's going to have a link right here. And just like Melissa explained about, this is kind of like the address to your meeting room. You're just going to click on this when they get it. Well, this is what it looked like when it goes out to them. But this is also what it's going to look like when it comes into them also. So once you have all of this filled in, anything else that's pertinent to the meeting, you're going to hit the send button. How are we doing? Do we have any more questions, Melissa? Oh, I can't hear you, Melissa.
Sorry, not right now. Does anyone have any questions? Please feel free to unmute yourself.
I had a question. That last screen, you know, where your cursor was down below showing, yeah. So can you just type, are you allowed to just type in there what the meeting is about after where your arrow is? If you go down, can you type anything else in right there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's going to have this information here. It's going to give them the URL to the meeting that they'll click on when they receive this. But you do have all this space below to put in anything that you want to say to them in advance of the meeting, whether that's what the meeting's going to be about. If they're having problems, getting into the meeting, here's your phone number so that they can give you a call, and different things like that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, just as if in any other email.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Christine. I have a question.
Hey, Kathy.
Hi.
Hi.
I was just on Zoom and for the first time doing it by myself with a client, and we could hear each other, but a black box came up, and there was the little like lock box in the left-hand corner, the green one. I couldn't see her face, and it kept saying client is encrypted, and we didn't know how to get through that. So I could see her so she could share the screen with me.
Wow, that's the first time I've heard about that. Melissa, have you heard about that at all?
Well, so mine says that too right now, and I think it's just meaning that it's a secured connection. If I would have to guess, we'll definitely look into it and follow up. My first guess would just be that the cameras were off.
No, we tried everything.
And were you doing it on your computer or were you doing it from your phone?
Computer.
All right, if I'm sure when Christine or I can hop on and we can try to figure out what the issue might have been.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Is there an address book function with this? Does it import an address book? Work with your address book?
Yes. So if you were creating this particular email right here, it is incorporating with your email product and your contact list.
Okay, does it do that automatically or do you need to import?
No, you don't need to import it all. So if I started typing in anybody that I have previously ever emailed, including anybody in the company, it would start to auto-populate for me.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have another question.
Okay, Kathy.
Sorry.
No, please.
I saw a beautiful realtor on just now when we all got on, and she had her picture there. And I'm like, oh, she just had her picture. How do you do that? How do you just, if you don't want to be seen today, because I have pajamas on, how do I just have my business picture show?
Well, we're actually gonna move into that. That's where we're heading next.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the segue. All right. So there's some settings that you want to be aware of when using Zoom. So when you open up Zoom and you have, these icons right here, there's a home button. And up here in the corner, and I have to just move over my little toolbar so I can see it a little bit better. And close up this guy. Not sure where he came from. Do you see your little photo icon in the upper right-hand corner? It might be a photo. It might be blank. It might just have like a little black and gray picture of nobody. So anyway, over here, when you click that, it's going to pop up this window here. And if you click the settings button right here, there we go. There's a bunch of different settings in here. So you'll want to go through and personalize this. You may want to play around with some of these. You may like some of them. You may hate some of the others. These are the personal settings that I use. I like it to ask me to confirm when I leave a meeting, just because if I accidentally hit that button, I just don't want to like completely exit the meeting without a second chance to say, no, I didn't need to do that. I like my reminders about 10 minutes in advance so I can stop what I'm doing and jump in. Some people might want some of these other things set up, but again, that's all personal choice. So you may want to go ahead and just play around with some of those things. From the video right here, I think everyone kind of likes this little tip, but in here, if you're on the video, look down here, see where it says touch up my appearance? That will actually play with some of like the filters and the lighting on your camera. So I know a lot of people kind of like that feature. I don't find personally it does a lot for me, but it might, depending on the lighting and things like that, wherever you're sitting. Let me kind of get that up for you again. All right, let's see, what's next? I guess that was the end of my presentation. Did anybody have any other questions? Oh, I remember one more thing I wanted to show you. Let's see if I can jump back into it. I thought I had made another slide for it. Right here, see where it says check for updates? So again, this is back by clicking your little icon up here in the upper right-hand corner, and then down, that makes this pop out, and then the check for updates. Please check this almost on a daily basis right now. They are constantly having updates right now just to improve the features for you. We're finding that a lot of people who were getting hung up where things would freeze just by going in and updating the Zoom meeting version that they have was making a world of difference for them. So I think that's all I have. Melissa, any chats?
So we do have some, do you know how to turn off messenger notices popping up on your screen while you're conducting a meeting? I think putting it on sleep mode, or I wouldn't do airplane mode because that would still pop up. It's basically your notifications on your phone system. So that's how you'll want to handle those. And Linda, it says to buy a license. There should be a way to bypass that for a free version, but let us know if you get stuck on that. I did. Yeah, Michelle Ridley did have, I'm going to just try to share one of my screens, a question about, can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I had a question about cell phone, like you can download the app from either Google Play or Apple Store, And this is what mine looks like on an Apple. And it's the same basic setups. It's hard to walk you through this, but if you guys need help, we can do that. But you have, you know, your main sections about new meeting, join, schedule, and then if you want to share your screen. So just let us know if you guys need any help with that too.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Recently, I read on Facebook that some schools in Massachusetts had Zoom meetings, you know, for their classes, and somebody bombed the meeting by getting in and saying something inappropriate. And the comment after that was that the meeting had not been set as private. Is there some place we should check for that?
I think that goes back from what I was saying and showing on a few screens back about there's a spot where you can create a password. So, you know, considering what you may be talking about or the sensitivity of a meeting, you may want to click that part where there's a password required.
And then another thing with that personal ID versus that recreating or creating its own unique ID, if you're creating a unique one, that's going to be unique for that specific chat, whereas that personal meeting, that's your own basically room. So if you wanted to up the level of security, maybe just selecting to create that special room each time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. Do we have any other questions?
And all of our business support specialists are really good at using Zoom meeting. We use this all the time ourselves for our own meetings. I know that I personally have used it quite a bit with my agents in my Concord office, where, you know, if they're not in the office and they need one-on-one help, you know, I'm able to give them that face-to-face help via Zoom meeting.
Yeah, it's such a wonderful tool.
Yeah. And also after the meeting, we will be sending out some like how-to tips and some of the other things that came up from our meeting. So if you're looking for some follow-up notes, we'll be getting those out to you guys.
Yeah, just check out the daily bulletin. We'll have that at the 5 o'clock hour. And is there any other questions?
Really nice job, Christine. Really good.
Thanks, Nancy.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes,
Christine.
excellent job.
Thanks a lot.
We have one more question that we can definitely look into. Any guidance on how to do a Zoom for a virtual open house? I know that some people are doing them right on their phones. Christine, do you want to have any of your agents done them yet?
They haven't done it via Zoom. We are starting to explore that a little bit. You know, they're still trying to, they're actually doing a lot of practice sessions right now with that. So that's a little bit more of a stay tuned. I'm hoping that maybe we can do even a Zoom meeting on, you know, some best practices for doing that.
Yeah, and it all depends on the reception that you have in that area. Sometimes it might be a better idea to do a regular video, and then if you have a client wanting more details, that's when you would do that Zoom or FaceTime or whatever app you want to use meeting. So thanks for that question. All right. Well, thank you all for joining. If you guys have any more questions, please let us know, and we'll see you when we see you. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
You too.